Well, Nompu, lawyers representing Zanele, who is the former Deputy Director of Mental Health at the Gauteng Department of Health, argue that the client was merely placed at the Waverly Care Centre to facilitate the transfer of patients, and it was not her duty to assess patients prior to the move, and that it was the responsibility of Life Esidimeni to do so. Let's take a listen.
It is my client's evidence that she was simply there to facilitate and to look at the physical appearance of the patient when the mental health care user was being transferred. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Nompu, Zanelo's lawyers also told the court that on the day of the move, patients were in need of clothing and only had the clothes on their backs. Basically, what you'd recall, this has been constant testimony inside this virtual court sitting about the condition in which the patients had left Life Esidimeni, because they would want to establish whether the patients were in frail care already prior to them leaving Life Esidimeni and being transferred to those unlawful NGOs. Let's take a listen.
It is my client's evidence that at the time of discharge, they had to go to the laundry and look for shoes and clothing items for some of the mental health care users. And you were there with them and you were aware that they were looking for clothing items for some of the mental health care users.
It's not true.
So all the mental health care users had clothing at the time, their own clothing. They were not in need of clothing at the time of discharge.
Mental health care users were transferred with clothes. We had mental health care users who had their own clothing. Because of their level of functioning, they were able to take care of their own clothes. We had mental care users who were unable to take care of their clothes. They were given clothes, especially those that were going to an NGO. They were given clothes, and they were also given the clothes that were donated by the families.
Nompu, also lawyers representing Rochelle Gordon, who was one of the officials who accompanied the bus from Waverly to one of the NGOs, also told the court how some of the patients were frail and should have never been taken to NGOs but hospitals instead.